Hey everybody, in this video we're going to be discussing Jesus and the impact of Jesus, and also a lot of people are interested in the trial of Jesus. They're interested in the Shroud of Turin, and also the resurrection of Jesus. And to begin with, Jesus really doesn't have much of an impact on any sort of from a theological perspective, because a very short amount of his life was actually recorded. And so, this being said, the Catholic, the Catholic Church even admits that even if the Shroud of Turin is true, which I think it is, that it really doesn't matter either way, pretty much, because Jesus is known as the King of the Jews. When he was born, the wise men all came and they navigated through the stars and such, and the Milky Way. And this obviously has significance, whether Jesus was born under the star Bethlehem, Halley's Comet. Whether the star Bethlehem was Halley's Comet, I'm not really sure. But this is just going to be basically a comparison between these different thoughts between the impacts that Jesus had versus the impacts that like a culture like the Atlantis or the Lemurians. The Lemurians are also known as the Moors, Lemuria, the Moorish Empire. These people have a cultural connection, and so to begin with, the resurrection of Jesus, basically, resurrection, I do believe that he could resurrect, because resurrection is just basically a spiritual contract. The Egyptians knew about this when they uncovered where King Tut was mummified, right? He was mummified with this certain type of beetle, and this beetle was able to like run up a hill with all this manure, and it would use it for nutrients and these types of things. And this certain type of beetle was very significant because it could navigate through the stars. That's how it would run up these hills, is it would navigate through the stars. And King Tut, his necklace was from hot glass, and this hot glass was found in the desert from a comet that crashed in to the desert. And so King Tut, his necklace, it was almost like if you've seen the Egyptian, like the center of the Egyptian piece, it's there's like a beetle in the center, and so that's what King Tut's necklace was just basically a necklace with a beetle in the center. And it's entirely possible that King Tut could have been mummified to basically make it into the interdimensions, because like Jesus was considered a prophet, okay, but he wouldn't have been considered like a great being. Like a great being is there's a difference between like a great person and a prophet. So like Nostradamus was a prophet, right? Did Nostradamus have as big of an impact on history as someone like Da Vinci who was considered a great person? Probably not. So the difference between these prophets and these great people are like great people would be the Vikings. And the Vikings were actually very advanced, and the Vikings were from like Sweden, Norway, um, Denmark, and so they had accurate maps of the different levels of the earth, right? And but they had their great people, and their great people were like Odin was a great person, Thor was a great person, Thor's hammer was sort of like a boomerang. Like if you go out to the field or something, I mean, I don't recommend doing this if you live in a city or have neighbors and things like that. But if you can go out to a wide open field, you can take a boomerang. You can throw a boomerang, and the boomerang will come back to you. Well, that's kind of like how Thor's hammer was. And so Thor was actually from another planet. He was from a different. He was considered a great person because he got his technologies and his know-hows and how-tos from these different extra-dimensional places or planets. And so the gods could basically build wormholes. I'm sorry, not interstellar travel from like one planet to another. So they could essentially, and this is found all throughout. The Greeks could do this. All these different people can basically go to this point, wherever it is, and essentially just take them to their home planet or to any other planet that they wish. And so, but anyway, this is how Thor got his technologies. Odin got his technologies were from these various extraterrestrials. And so, but back to Jesus. It's entirely possible that Jesus resurrected, and he Jesus lived very little of his life was recorded. Only a few years of his life was recorded, and he really didn't play too much of an impact on history. The people try to say, well, the Jews were happy that he died, and there's like this big connection, but that's not. I mean, I don't really think that's true. I just think that he lived for a short while. He was not too significant. The archaeological evidence is there, though, that he did, that he was born, and that he did resurrect, and so that's entirely possible. But in terms of him really impacting the occult or different types of earth magic or different types of great people or extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, interdimensional beings, Jesus really didn't have that much of an impact. So I'm not really sure why people go too crazy over him. That being said, most of your one world religions are going to be created by these people. They're called the archons, and the archons, the two big alliances are like the Archon Alliance, and then you have the Galactic Federation. And so the Archon Alliance created Christianity. They created Islam. They created Judaism. All the monotheistic religions were created by the Archons. And the Archons created the Greys. And the Greys had a very influential. They basically influenced all of these different religions on people. Like Muhammad got the Quran from this group of Greys. Did they call them? They're like, the Greys are like maybe 4 feet tall. They're like really small. The Vikings were like very big people, so when the Vikings wrote about the Greys, right, these little aliens that were about 4 feet tall, they pretty much considered them like little people. Like, you know how most people now, they'll watch like, like Little People Big World or something, and they'll be like, oh, those people are so little. But back in the day, like, 400, 500 years ago, the little people would actually be. That's how tall most people were back in those days. So, that being said, I hope that I can explain to people the story of Jesus, the trial of Jesus. Jesus was basically walked up a hill, and he was brought forth before the Pontius Pilate, who basically decided his fate and crucified him. And the evidence is there that Jesus was crucified. But that being said, Jesus really doesn't have that much of an impact on history. Your cities in Atlantis, the Lemurians, your ancient Egypt, the Greeks, all of these different systems and magic, like earth magic, has had much more of an impact on the way things should be and how things should be. And so I hope I've cleared everything up for all of you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.